Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Good morning. Thank you for coming to our May 30th Planning Commission meeting. I'm gonna call the meeting to order and ask Craig Slade to pray for us.
Yes, sir. Let's pray. We're grateful for this time that you allow us to come together to conduct business in the county. We're thankful for these men who have sacrificed so much, Lord, to serve their fellow man, to serve this community, to do it well. Thank you for giving us resources so that we can implement policies and decisions, Lord, that carry out your will and that are in keeping with the best interest of our citizens. Thank you, Father, that you give these men skills and abilities. Those are blessings that you give to them, and so that they might benefit and serve their fellow man in this community. Thank you for the men and women who protect us every day, whether they be law enforcement, emergency responders, others, Lord, who sacrifice every day to put themselves on the line. I pray for their protection. I pray for their families. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you, sir. All right. First, I do want to thank you for coming and being part of your local government. Do we want to go with, Craig, do you want to start it off, just new considerations and, hey, Jay?
Just let Ms. Renee
Or-
walk us through those new considerations with the planning commission.
Can we do the approval of the minutes first?
I'll make
please?
it. I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve May 2nd minutes.
I second.
All right, and there is no old business?
No, sir, there's no old
Okay.
business.
All right, let's go to the new considerations.
All right, so the first item under new considerations is a conditional use permit for Mississippi Developers LLC on Donald Lane. They're seeking the conditional use permit to construct a storage facility. They're purchasing approximately 7 acres. Most of this property is zoned C2. The easternmost part of the property to the rear is zoned A1. That's an aerial view of the property. And then this is their conceptual plan. It shows 3 40 by 150 enclosed storage buildings at the front with 4 70 by 200 climate control buildings behind those. And then they also show 4 185 by 40 foot covered structures toward the back. And then the very back of the property, they're proposing open boat and RV storage. All of that will be based on future demand, the number of buildings. This is a view of that property on Donald Lane. And then these are pictures of surrounding properties. Carl Sandberg is here today if y'all have any questions for him.
What is that?
This is Michael Brooks' building.
That's Brooks's building, but what they're proposing is.
Is that a commercial field?
Well, that's not what we're looking at, is it? We're looking
No,
at new,
I think Michael has his office there, but I
Yeah.
don't, this is the property
This
that's
is
being
next to it.
considered, it
When
is.
did that get rezoned to C2?
It's been C2 for a long
this is
time.
right off of 25. It's I guess you'd call it a private,
It's Donald Lane is
Empty.
private drive. It's
Oh, okay.
it runs parallel to 25.
Zone C2, Renee?
It is.
I know what
Conditional
it
use will be
is now.
because there's
Yeah.
outside
Yeah, that
storage
building
being
there.
There is
proposed.
some, you put together something for the drive, haven't you?
Yeah, well, we talked about that, Steve. I think that would be something that we want to request, that there's a good, solid maintenance agreement for the private drive, given the fact that this particular use could have a substantial impact
A lot of traffic.
on the traffic. And
Yeah.
so we anticipate that as a private drive, it will be impacted by additional traffic that's being put on that. So what we would like to see is that each of the properties and each of the property owners who access that private drive from Highway 25 are in some form of agreement as to the maintenance, the future maintenance of Donald Lane, the private drive. So that was a consideration that we talked about, but I don't know that we put any significant details.
I
on
think they're
that.
working on that.
Okay.
We actually have it drafted.
You just need to provide that to Ms. Renee. You don't have to do it right now, but it's at some point. We'll make that, Steve, when we get to, I think this is just consideration.
Yeah.
So we're gonna set it for hearing at some point, right, Renee?
The next
All right.
section.
So we'll just need to get that hammered out before we get to the actual hearing date.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so the next item is a conditional use permit from Morgan Properties LLC at 1845 Highway 471. It's a conditional use permit for Ellen Morgan Stone. They're seeking the conditional use permit to expand the stone business onto the adjoining property to the north. They purchased that property in January of this year. It's a 2-acre parcel. It's Zone C2. That's an aerial view. You can see the existing business there to the south. They have no immediate plans for the property other than storing stone there. This is a picture of the property. There was an old manufactured home there that they tore down and got rid of. And then these are views, street views on 471. And these are surrounding properties. That's it.
Okay.
All right, y'all ready to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next is a conditional use permit for Jonathan Moore. It's at 108 Mount Helm Road. He's seeking the conditional use permit to add a portable ice vending machine at the Fannin Farm and Garden business located on the corner of 471 and Mount Helm Road. It's a 2.03 acre parcel at Zone C2. That's an aerial view of the property. And then this is his site plan. He shows the location of the vending machine. It's about the size of a regular vending machine. It'll be located next to the water meter and power there at the corner. This is what the machine will look like. And this is the area where it will be located. And then this is a view from Mount Helm Road of that property. This is a street view from Mount Helm. These are surrounding properties on Mount Helm. And these are surrounding properties on Highway 471.
Ms. Renee, could you tell from the plat that was provided about the location, the proposed location, could you tell whether that was outside of both the public right-of-way and outside of any private utility easement? Could you tell that from the plat?
Well, he's putting it where the water and power meter are now,
Yeah.
and there's some phone boxes
I
there.
just want to make sure that the unit itself is not encroaching on a utility, either a utility right-of-way or utility easement, and certainly not a public right-of-way.
All right, we'll get that
Yeah,
before.
that needs to be a part of the applicant's presentation to us, something surveyed that would reflect that it's completely contained on private property.
Okay. All right, the next item is a dimensional variance request by Paul Crocker at 240 Hebron Hill Drive. He's seeking the dimensional variance to construct a 24 by 36 carport in the front yard ahead of the front plane of his home. This is a 3.2 acre parcel. It's zoned RE1. This is an aerial view of the property. Accessory structures or uses must be located to the side or rear of the main structure. They're prohibited from placement in the required front yard and ahead of the front plane of the main structure or use. This is his site plan. The kind of orange looking area, that's the carport. The property drops off severely on both sides of the home. This is the only location available to build the carport in front of and to the side of the home. It will be built to complement the existing home, painted to match. The roof pitch and architectural shingles will match the home. These are views of the home and the property. This is the area where the carport will be going.
Wow.
Mm.
And he's here today if you have questions for him. These are surrounding properties. And that's it.
I don't really have any questions. I mean,
All right.
where's he at?
Mr. Cocker?
Is it, neighbors are good with it? Okay. Wow. Of course, we're gonna have to set it for I think the 17th is when it'll be
That's
set.
All right, so the next item is a rezoning, as Tria Zachary and Rankin County initiated rezoning request on Stoll Road. Ms. Zachary filed an application to rezone 10.44 acres on Stoll Road from R1 to RE1. The county is also initiating a zoning change for 7 other parcels in this area. The one that Ms. Zachary is requesting a change on is at the southwest end of the outlined border. That's an aerial view. And this is the zoning map. All of the property on the south side of Stoll Road is zoned RE1, residential estate, so this would be making it uniform. Also, there is no water or public water or sewer available to these properties to support the R1 zoning classification. The 8 lots are large lots, so they blend in with the characteristics of the adjoining properties. So we posted zoning signs on both ends of the area to be rezoned. This is on the southeast corner. This is a street view to the east of the R1C zone properties. And this is a street view to the west of the R1C zone properties. These are surrounding properties. And she's here today if you have any questions for her.
R1C?
It was R1C, they're going to RE1.
It was left over from a development that kind of went south
Gotcha.
and was just not zoned
Yeah,
correctly.
this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Have we heard from anybody after posting?
We haven't at our office.
I've only had favorable things said.
Okay, so the next item is a conditional use permit for Astria Zachary for the property that she's wanting to rezone. If that change is approved, she's seeking the conditional use permit to construct a 4,000 square foot barn dominium with a metal exterior. She wants to make sure she can be approved for this use before purchasing the property. It's 10.44 acres. That's an aerial view. And then this is her site plan. She's showing the location of the home. Now, a lot of these properties have flood zone on them, but she's showing the location to be in the X zone, which is not a special flood hazard area. So these are examples of what her home will look like. It will resemble a modern ranch-style home with white metal siding, black roof, and wooden gables. She's here today if you have any questions for her. And this is the lot where she wants to build the barn dominium. And these are just the street views from Stoll Road. This is to the east. So, y'all have questions for her?
On that road. See how thick that asphalt is?
I don't have any, I mean, we're pretty familiar with this.
See how thick that asphalt is?
Hey, y'all see houses over there?
There are some houses.
12 inches thick.
Yeah.
See what I see?
Yeah, I thought it was gravel over there.
This,
I did too.
I mean, that's like 12 inches asphalt.
all right, let's move on. We're just reviewing them. Let's move on.
All right, so next, we're ready to set those public
Yes.
hearings if y'all are.
Are they all set on the same? No, they're different.
Start riding a little more.
Mr. President, you can take item 1 separately, and then 2 through 6 can be set in one motion.
All right.
I make a motion to set public hearing
One.
for June 3rd.
Second.
All right, Jay makes a motion, Scott seconds a motion to set this one for June 3rd. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now then, the rest of these,
I'll make a motion to set 2 through 6 for June the 17th.
I second.
all right, Brad makes a motion, Sid seconds a motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Now,
Hey,
we go into our nuisance.
Question. I don't know that we actually voted to accept the minutes. Approve all. Vote for all. Should we redo that?
Was this in the plan?
No, right here.
Okay.
We made a motion and a second.
Did we do the minutes? Did we do the motion and
I-
the second?
Yes.
Yes.
They did.
Did we vote?
Okay, all in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Just wanna make sure.
We're good.
Any opposed?
Good job.
Minutes
Ed.
passed.
Thank you.
I think we did.
I think we did too, but
We may have.
Mr.
we
Mr.
may
President,
not have.
the
We
first,
didn't.
the first item under our nuisance property hearings for today, the first item is Robert and Shauna Vance nuisance property. This is 270 Applewood Lane. This is a District 3 property. This time, we'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Mr. and Ms. Vance or anyone on their behalf to be prepared to come forward and address the board. Ms. Renee will demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so, these pictures were taken on the 12th. We received the complaint April 11th. They were taken on April 12th. The complaint was about inoperable vehicles on the property. The first letters were not received by the owner, but they did receive the notice about the hearing, and they've had some contact with Kathy. They said they removed one of the inoperable vehicles. All right, so Kathy said it looks like they just moved it to the neighboring property, but these pictures were taken yesterday. I'm not sure if anybody's here today or not.
Is Robert or Shauna Vance in the room? Anyone on their behalf? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here on their behalf. At this time, we will close that public hearing, and if any action is required, it's appropriate to do that now.
I'll make a motion to declare it a nuisance.
Second.
All right, Brad makes a motion to declare it a nuisance. Jay seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next item under my section, Mr. President, is the Stephen Palmer nuisance property, 119 Touchstone Road. This is District 3 property. This time, we'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Mr. Palmer or anyone on his behalf to be prepared to come forward and address the board. Ms. Renee will demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so we received the complaint in April of this year too. Rubbish and debris, grass and weeds. Kathy has had some contact with the owner. He owns 3 lots in Robin Hood. This is in the Robin Hood subdivision. He said he would clean up. So these pictures are dated the 12th, April 12th. And these were taken yesterday. He's here today, I believe.
Yep, please come forward if you don't mind, sir. And just state your name and address for the record.
You done?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's,
Steve Palmer.
all right, and you live there?
Yeah, yes, it's, it was a mess. But anyway,
You on
we're
it?
making a lot of progress.
Yeah.
The front's pretty clean, and we're working on the next lot.
How much longer do you think it's gonna take?
I'd
you?
like, if you could, give me at least 30 days.
Okay,
Cause I get up early in the morning, go to work, I'll get home to dark, I've been working out in the yard at night and getting everybody staring at me like I'm crazy out there working at night.
They
Said,
probably
"Well,
not thinking you're
this is a-
crazy.
This is
They-
a crazy
yeah.
man, you know, but,
I'm gonna declare it a nuisance, and we're gonna let our office go back out in 30 days.
yes, sir.
And if it's not
Well, the
cleaned
front
up,
yard's already, I done got it all gone, and I'm putting the cedar walls up. You know, I done all the windows in the front there, you know, so it's gonna be done, look good when I get through with it.
okay, we're gonna declare it a nuisance, but we're gonna give you 30 days to get it cleaned up, and they'll come back with us next
I have no
month.
problem with that.
Okay? All right.
And everything, like I say, it's something that need to be done.
Well, I appreciate you taking the initiative to get it done, and hopefully
Yes,
you
we done a
can
lot
keep it
in
clean.
since I got the letter.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all have a blessed day.
All right.
You too. All right, Brad makes a motion, declare it a nuisance. Scott seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Nuisance.
Next item on my section, Mr. President, is the Jenny McElhenney and Austin Pickering nuisance property. This will be at 376 Andrew Chapel Road. This is a District 4 property. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Ms. McElhenney or Mr. Pickering to be prepared to come forward. Renee will demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so we received a complaint on this property on April the 8th about inoperable vehicle, grass, rubbish, and debris. This is a repeat. We've had this property before. These pictures were taken April 8th. And these are the new pictures that were taken May 29th. It appears they've done some cleanup because it has looked much worse than this.
Mr. President, I don't see anyone here on behalf of the property owners. At this time, we'll close that public hearing. This time, it'd be appropriate to take action, if any.
Well, that looks pretty good there.
They've done some work. It has been really bad.
Can we suspend it? Y'all revisit it in 30 days?
Yes, sir.
But now, do you
Steve,
wanna
we
go ahead
can
and
show
clear
that no action's taken, no action's being
This is-
taken in this
yeah.
hearing. But there's another option, which is to go on and declare it a nuisance so that we don't have to repeat this, but ask the staff to withhold referring it up to justice court until such time as they're satisfied that no
Right, that's my
cleanup's
motion.
happening. Okay, that's what I,
That's what I did.
Yep, that's my motion.
all right, Steve makes the motion to declare it a
I'll
nuisance.
second it.
All right,
Well, so can we notify these people that that's the case, that they'll be
Yeah.
monitored going forward? Okay.
all right, I made the motion, Brad seconded the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item 4, under the nuisance property hearings, is Lydia Randall zoning violation. This is and also nuisance property. This is 206 Lakeshore Road. This is District 4 property. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Ms. Randall or anyone on her behalf to be prepared to come forward. Ms. Renee will demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so these the date of the complaint was April 1st. There's an inoperable bus, rubbish, and debris on the property. This is at Pelahatchie Lake Estates subdivision. These pictures are dated April 1st. Kathy has had some contact from the property owner. She actually faxed in something this morning asking for an additional 30 days, I believe. You can see the bus. She said it belongs to her son, and her son doesn't live here, I don't think, and he's coming in.
Works offshore, I believe.
So he would be home sometime around the 1st of June. These are the new pictures that were taken May 29th.
I think we handled this exactly the same way.
Same deal.
Make a motion, declare it nuisance.
Yes, sir.
Check with them in 30 days, and then if it's good, if not, send
Yes,
it
sir.
up.
We'll close that public hearing. So that's Steve's motion.
Scott, second.
I got a second.
All right, I made a motion, Scott seconded the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item 5, under the nuisance property considerations, James Ray Shedd Jr. This is nuisance property, 123 Pole Bridge Road. This is District 4 property. we'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Mr. Shedd or anyone on his behalf to be prepared to come forward. Renee will demonstrate with the photos.
So this property, we've had complaints on multiple times. This specific complaint was April the 8th. Rubbish, weeds, inoperable appliance. These pictures were taken April 8th. And these are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
Oh.
They finally got it cleaned up.
Just a few items. Just a few items. All right, this may be one, is this, Steve, this yours? This may be one where you do want to not move forward with a nuisance declaration just by virtue of the fact that I don't think that the Justice Court would find any reason to take any action should it have to. I would suggest here that we ask the staff to monitor for 30 days and impress upon the property owner, get everything that needs to be gone, and we'll close the chapter on it. That would be my suggestion on this one.
Okay, mine too.
So we'll just show that in the minutes that no action is taken on this one. I do want to express appreciation to Mr. Shedd or whoever helped him actually taking action to get his property in compliance. It's good to see citizens actually do the work that needs to be done to get into compliance. And so I want to express appreciation on behalf of the board for that. Item 6 is the Jeff Nunn nuisance property at 235 Joe Davis Drive. This is a District 3 property. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Mr. Nunn or anyone on his behalf to be prepared to come forward. Ms. Renee, if you'll demonstrate for us.
So we received a complaint May 1st, rubbish, weeds, inoperable vehicles, and a dilapidated structure. These pictures were taken May 1st. This is in Robin Hood subdivision. And these are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
This is the one, yeah.
Come forward, please. You'll give your name and address, please.
Jeff Nunn, 235 Joe Davis Drive.
Tell us what's going on, because this has been a nuisance for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, you can see I've started cleaning it up. The reason that's piled up in the front yard like that right now is because had an issue with the dumpster that's supposed to have been delivered. It's supposed to have been delivered last Friday, but somehow their paperwork got messed up and it's supposed to be delivered this Friday.
So what you gonna throw in the dumpster?
All that stuff that's been pulled out and the structure down there, we will get it cut down and it'll be going in the dumpster.
Are you the one that's going out there feeding the cats?
Yes, sir. I have 3 cats. I feed.
But you don't even live there.
Right, but that's their house before it burned down. They were there and they sold.
The cats?
Yes, sir.
Well, the cats are going on the neighbors' properties, and the cats are gonna be picked up.
Okay. I've been
Or you
going
can take
over
them to
this.
your house where you live. and
I've been
feed 'em.
going over this with the neighbor. I know who it is. And I've asked her, and I know that Rankin County Animal Control asked her, because she keeps claiming they mine cats, to take a picture. If she takes a picture of the cat and it's one of mine, I'll have it removed. It's been going on for over 2 years, and she hasn't provided me or Animal Control with any picture of a cat, period.
But if you don't live there, I mean,
So
what
the
are-
structure's coming down,
Yes, sir. Structure is coming down.
so there will be a
The
reason for the
truck
cat
you
to be
see in
around.
the picture, it's legal. It runs, everything, tags are up. The vehicle is gonna be removed, the car, that will be removed also.
The one with the tarpaulin runs, that's the one you said that runs good?
The truck runs great,
Yeah.
right. I just had the tarp over, try to keep the debris and all that stuff.
Protect the glass from cracking and stuff.
Right.
yeah.
I mean, this is just, I know it's been going on for years, and I mean, I've had multiple complaints, not just from one individual, but multiple individuals out there. I mean, at one time, there was a portable building sitting out there
Right.
with a hole in the bottom of it where
No,
the cats were
Yeah,
going
there
in
was,
and
there
out.
was never a hole. I showed the animal control officers, there was never a hole in the bottom. They just saw the cats running under the building and assumed,
But I mean, but when people
I'm just
ride
saying.
by and cats sitting up in the window,
but,
I mean,
I know,
you understand what I'm saying?
right.
When did that building burn? You said it burned?
Yes,
When?
4 years ago,
But do you own this property?
yes.
Okay, and y'all have the contact? Okay. I'm gonna declare it a nuisance,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna give you 30 days.
Yes, sir.
And, I mean, I don't want,
If-
everything's gonna be gone, and I don't need you out there, if you're not living out there, going out there every day feeding cats.
All right.
You-
Now, the truck, it's legal. Can I leave it parked there? Or is
If
that
it's-
gonna be a
Does it
problem?
have a tag on it?
Yes, sir. Tags are current,
can-
everything.
Driveway or
Is there a driveway?
Yes, where the other vehicle is,
I mean, if you get it off
It's
the
an-
road and maybe buy a little nicer tarp,
Tarp.
I mean, that one's kinda,
yeah, you get, the weather we had lately, it got kind of rough.
I mean, if you'll work with me, I'll work with you, but I mean,
Yes. Oh,
I'm getting a lot of complaints, and I mean, that doesn't look good with the,
I
mean, the
guarantee
tarp's not even
you,
covering the front windshield on it.
well, that's cause the
back
storm we
glass
had
is busted,
lately,
not the
ain't,
front windshield.
haven't had it replaced.
All right, I'm gonna declare it a nuisance, and they're
Yeah,
gonna look at it, and in 30 days, if it's not, it's going straight to justice court,
That's fine.
okay?
I
All
appreciate
right,
it.
thank you.
And
Coming in today.
you'll see.
Okay. I'll
It'll be
ride,
cleaned up.
I'm riding back.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Brad makes a motion to declare it nuisance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Scott seconds that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
For the record, we will declare that public hearing closed. Next item under the
And
nuisance.
also, Brad does not like cats.
Yes.
No, it ain't that, I mean, it's the neighbors,
He got something against cats.
you know, I got 3 of them at my house. But,
Don't let them on your neighbor's property.
Yeah.
I mean, when they crapping on somebody else's property.
Okay. The next item under the nuisance property hearings is item 7, Willie and Lydia Hobbs, nuisance property. This is a review, 251 Lancaster Court. This is a District 2 property. And since this is a review, we won't open a hearing on this. This would be an opportunity. If Willie or Lydia Hobbs is in the room, they should be prepared to come forward and address the board. Ms. Renee will take us through the review.
All right, so, Ms. Hobbs was here at the March 28th meeting. This is in Castlewoods, and it's in the Reservoir Community District. So these were the pictures that were taken February 5th of this year. These were taken March 27th. The issue now is the structure in the backyard. Okay, so Kathy said it's gone, but it has to match the house in materials and colors. So these are the pictures that were taken May 29th.
I know, I'm sorry. They want me to stop doing those.
Still
That's
pictures
where
weren't
you
better.
go back. one. Yeah, right there.
Here.
I guess that's just a trailer they got behind the truck.
As long as it's parked on the driveway, you know, it's allowed. I assume it is, or Kathy would have
All right.
noticed it, given them a violation.
So with respect to the structure, we're compliant? Okay.
That was our only thing, was that
I
structure,
think that's all we
believe.
were looking at, and again, this is a review, so there's no action required here. This is just to get you guys up to speed on it. If you want action, the next step would be to communicate an actual hearing date and request an appearance before the board, so that the board would be in a position then to actually take action. So unless there's something else that needs to be addressed at this juncture, I wouldn't. So we'll just simply allow the record to reflect, the minutes to reflect that no actions required or taken. Okay. Mr. President, the last item under my section, nuisance property hearings, Item 8 is the Andrew Butler nuisance property. This is actually a hearing. Previously, at the last board meeting, I believe, we conducted a review hearing. And so we announced and set for hearing today, as a part of that review hearing, the actual nuisance hearing for today. And so we're going to open that public hearing. Again, this is on the Andrew Butler nuisance property at 156 Westlake Drive. This is a District 2 property. We're going to open that public hearing. I'm going to have or announce that Mr. Butler or whomever on his behalf should be prepared to come forward to address the board. Before that, we want to walk you back through what we looked at previously as part of the review. So Ms. Renee will walk us through the photos, and I want to draw your attention to one document in particular.
All right, so these pictures were taken January 4th of '23. This is in Mill Creek subdivision, which is in the Reservoir Community District also. This was from May 9th of '24. These were yesterday on the 29th. So these were pictures that were provided by the Homeowners Association. That was May 18th, May 20th, 21st. These are on the 26th. This is the 25th. This is the 27th. That's it.
So we'll make all of these photos and the document that I want to refer you guys to, we're going to make that exhibits to the record of this particular hearing. I want to draw your attention to a home occupation license application that was submitted by Mr. Butler on the 19th day of April of 2021. Mr. Butler owns and operates a business called Tree Care Pros of Mississippi, LLC. He lists the address as 156 Westlake Drive, which is the subdivision development that he lives in. That's inside of Mill Creek. This is the property that you're looking at. This is where he requested permission to operate a home business at that address. As part of that application, he was required to answer specific questions. So you guys have a copy of this in front of you. If you'll look with me, we'll just walk through. The questions are specific, and they are designed to elicit how compatible the proposed business is with the property under consideration and with other properties, adjacent properties, at the same time. That's one of the reasons for this. And so the questions are designed to elicit information that would help the staff know whether or not to consider the application, or what, if anything, to require as a part of the application. So will the business activity be the most important or primary use of the property? No. So this is a residence. It's a residence inside of a subdivision. Will anyone other than the people living be working at the business? No. Will there be any storage or display of materials, goods, supplies, et cetera, yes. And then there's a section that says, if you answer yes, tell us what that is. A trailer, a mini skid will be kept in the garage or in the backyard behind a fence. Will your business activity at the address be conducted outside in the yard, patio, or open courtyard? The answer is no. Will the business activity require more than 25% of the floor area of the dwelling of the home? No. Will an accessory building or on the premises be used in connection with the home occupation? No. Will the business activity create noise, vibration, glare, fumes, odors detectable outside of the dwelling or the accessory building? No. Will the business activity generate additional vehicular traffic? No. Will there be any sign, et cetera, et cetera? The answer is no there, and so there, the obvious answer about any signage would be no there. But, gentlemen, I noticed several things that seem to be incompatible with the photographs that are a part of this hearing. And what you noticed in the photographs is there is significant equipment associated with this business that is not kept in a garage and is not kept in the backyard behind a fence. It's kept right out front and on many occasions in the street. We are told, and you have already heard as part of the review hearing, and they'll have an opportunity to further address the board, but you've heard from representatives of the Mill Creek HOA who have indicated to the board that there is significant staging activity that is conducted here as a part of this business. Employees of the business will routinely gather early in the morning at the site for purposes of preparing themselves for that day's activities. I think they will also report to the board that there's a significant amount of activity, business-related activity that's conducted at night in the front yard, in the street. There's a good bit of noise associated with this. Clearly, it has an impact on traffic and other things. I'll let them address all that with you. But from the standpoint of the staff, we have reviewed this, and we're prepared to make some recommendations to the board as a part of this hearing, and we'll be glad to do that at the appropriate time. At this time, I think it'd be appropriate to allow either the violator, Mr. Butler, to come forward with his counsel and address the board however they wish to, and then we'll have an opportunity for anyone else that wishes to speak on this matter to address the board as well.
Craig,
Yes, sir.
we have listened to this a couple of weeks ago. Can we keep it brief and not cover the same ground that we covered before?
Have they seen this piece of paper that was
I'm
signed?
assuming that Mr. Butler was providing. I know that
Okay.
that we produced a number of documents in response to a public record request. I assume that has happened.
Okay.
I mean, I wanna hear, but listen.
Yeah, y'all come on up.
Mr. Butler.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all?
All right.
you?
Good. Thank y'all for hearing from us today. We will be brief. The question I think that's before this board is an issue as to the trailers. There's a specific ordinance that speaks to the size of the trailer that can be on a vehicle. It strikes me that that's the only issue that is presented in these photographs. As to the question of whether there is a business being operated on the premises, that makes no sense to me, because he's a tree cutter. He's going to the location to cut the trees. I don't know how it can be said that that operation is occurring on the premises. I think the question is, are you allowed to drive your work truck home? And the ordinances say, yes, as long as it does not exceed this size. And that size is like a 20-foot trailer.
I mean, you are aware that he signed this with Rankin County,
In 2021, at the instruction of the,
but he filled it out and marked everything that he said he would do.
yes, sir. Okay, he says that was a separate business, that was his previous business entity, but
But
it's a business partner, but regardless, I don't see how it is a home occupation. I don't think that you can get past that first hurdle. Maybe in 2021, if he was doing a different
Well, we're not a judge, and I imagine this is gonna end up in court if it's, doesn't get in compliance, don't you think?
You said this was your business partner? This is, you and your partner were, this business was you and someone else?
It was a previous business. The now legal name of the company is Tree Care Professionals.
Have you applied
No, sir.
for that as a home office
I didn't know I needed, application for a home office.
or home license, occupation license?
And my position on that, my counsel is no, that it's not a home occupation. He's not doing anything on the property that is earning money. He earns the money by going out and cutting the trees on the job. I
Is he
mean,
maintaining the equipment that does this with, on that property?
From time to time, I do. However, I try to shield, and I do it during what would be considered normal business hours.
I mean, I think the easiest thing, if you could find a lot to rent somewhere to, you know, keep your equipment, because if everybody in the subdivision had 3 or 4 trailers and equipment, the whole subdivision would be full, you know, if everybody did that. I'm not saying everybody is doing that, but I'm just saying, you understand where we're coming from. If you got 3 trucks and trailers
And
parked there, and then your neighbor does, and the next neighbor, you know, everybody has the same thing, we couldn't get down the street, they're all parked in the street.
And I actually have leased 3.19 acres that I am in the process of trying to make it accessible. A lot of this was a direct retaliation because I didn't reply to their letter because they've never replied to mine.
Right, you're talking about
they
the homeowner
is the
association?
homeowners association.
Yeah, and that's
There's a
what I meant,
back
we're
and
not
forth.
trying to get in a match with them, but it just looks like there's a little confusion between you and the homeowners, and I mean, the best solution is, you know, make everybody happy if you could find a piece of property to rent just to store.
Yes, sir, I
you know,
have.
your stuff out.
And I've got a couple of pictures. I want to offer these to you all to compare. This is his property here. This is the neighbor's property. Here's his property. You'll see the trucks on his lot. And then everybody in this neighborhood
Where's the neighbor?
on the same street.
Which, this is
Right
next?
next door.
The one with the trailer
Okay.
is neighboring. So you've got somebody parking their school bus in the neighborhood, you've got, I mean, these are working people who have trailers, and there is specifically, again, an ordinance that speaks to the size of the trailer that's permitted.
When will you move to the 3.9 acres?
I've actually, I find it very convenient that the HOA did not provide a photo of.
Answer the question.
Oh, and I am in the process of that, sir. So,
Answer the
all right,
question.
well, if you would not interrupt me, and I will. So,
Gentlemen,
I have moved,
we've heard
the chipper is not actually at my home. It is actually on this 3.19 acres.
That's what you call a chipper?
Yes, sir, that is a brush chipper.
I wanna make sure I understand what you're saying.
Yes,
Nuisance.
Yes, sir. We've heard.
I'm gonna make a motion that we declare this a nuisance. And then you can have your day with the justice, okay?
If you all would like to hear from a couple of other neighbors, there are neighbors here to speak on Mr. Butler's behalf before you make your decision as to.
I make
Totally up to the discretion of the chair.
the motion it's a nuisance. If there's a second, then we'll vote on it. Is there a second?
I'll second it
Scott seconds it.
and give you your day.
Any other? All in favor?
Thank you, gentlemen.
That hearing's closed. I don't think there's another nuisance consideration, Mr. President. I think.
All right.
Item 10.
Our next meeting will be held on June 27th at 9 a.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn out of the planning? Do we have a need?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All right. Brad makes a motion, Sid seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes. All right. Do we have a need
Yep.
for executive? Or do we want to go in executive now, or?
No, sir. I think
All right,
now
let's go.
straight to the board meeting.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna call the board meeting to order. but, yeah,
We don't think anybody's
that's all
signed up.
public
Thank you.
hearing. This is all public hearings.
I'll quickly go through mine. I don't think it's going to take very long to get through my section, Mr. President. First item is to set a public hearing. It should be June 3 at 9 a.m. for Mississippi Developers LLC conditional use permit. This is the Donald Lane conditional use. That'll be June 3rd.
June 3rd, June
30th.
June 3rd.
Oh, we got 30th on there.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. It needs to be changed to June
Okay.
3. Yeah, that was the wrong date. June 3rd.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Jay makes a motion, Scott seconds a motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
I think Keith's gonna help me with item B under my section, which is a discussion, potential action on our standard allowance for lost revenue.
Have we received anything from Wagner?
So what I've handed you is a kind of, at the moment, on our ARPA funds. So you'll see the top is our current projects that we have under contract, or they're to the point that we know we're gonna do them. So the remaining amount, or the remaining cost of those I think it's 6 projects, is 9.2 million. That's what the numbers I currently have. So right now, at this point, we have available to us 12.9 million, which leaves us 3.6 million that we have not designated to a specific project. And that's pending, I mean, that amount will go up once we get additional reimbursement. As an update, we did receive an additional 1.4 million this week, or this past week, from the state on our ARPA projects.
How much we get?
1.4.
Okay.
That's the one that's kind of been holding up everything. My understanding is they're preparing another submission to the state for matching funds. So at the moment, unencumbered, we have 3.6 million left in the ARPA funds. And then the second section are the projects that we're planning, but we don't have the funds at the moment, unless you want to come up with another method of paying for them to move forward with them. So, and these are my numbers using what I've received.
This Melamine, that seems pretty damn.
So if we took out, if we did one of these projects in the future, that would obviously take away from our unencumbered funds.
Correct. So I guess what we're looking for, we have all of the, if you'll notice in the future projects, we have all the POs or all the requisitions ready to be issued, but we did not want to move forward with those until the board gives us some direction on what the priority of the project should be.
Are you saying like the Indian Creek and Gunner Shenandoah Road project? You know, we'll advertise on 6/5.
Well, yes, those are in process, but just because they're advertised doesn't mean we have to award them. So I need to know which project is next on the list to
Well, it
move
looks
forward
like that's
with
the
it.
first one on the list, so I'll consider it next.
Wait, that's just
Oh, it just-
numerically, see it.
Well,
Just
hey,
happens to be a
that's-
District One
see
property.
who's first on the list. So I think we start with that one and then work our way down.
And I will say, and, you know, Tim's here, he can speak on his projects. These are the numbers, they may change. They may not be as much, they may be a little more, but that's the current numbers that I've been provided.
It's also the cheapest on the list to do.
Might as well knock it out of the way, huh?
Right, I mean, we got the money to do it. Looks like we're further along on that one. I got a motion.
Give you any more floor space? Motion to turn your mic off.
Keep those numbers on on the projects that are ours look relatively accurate, but they're not our numbers, but they look close. Melamede is considerably less than that.
Sure.
We talked about that.
Right.
That may be absorbed in one of the other projects on the list, so, that list looks, to me, fairly accurate. Like I said, it may shift between projects, but the total there looks, pretty close.
Tell me what you think Melamede will be.
650,000.
Yeah.
I think it's not our project, but I think the Reservoir East, and this may be the revised estimate, but I know that project had grown considerably. And I don't know if it'll be over the two, I can't speak to it, but, that was, when we talked about Melamede being less, that was where part of that was gonna be absorbed.
Yeah, to understand, these numbers include not only construction costs, but all services as well. Engineering services.
You think Reservoir East is gonna run over?
I don't know, Steve.
That's not his-
That's not ours.
I mean, this started way less than this, and now it looks like a realistic number to me.
And this may be the new number, I don't know.
All right.
That's
I
the
have-
latest number I've received from,
Yeah.
Wagner.
I have, shed several projects, bridges. These two, one of them, 650,000 seems like, it should be plenty to do that. And then the Reservoir East are the only two that I'm holding on to. And I'd appreciate it if we could do those. We've needed to do those for years. I can't speak on the other projects that I don't really know what is going on with their flooding problems and things, but these two, there is water approaching houses.
Yep.
So you saying this one right here, this one right here?
407.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, this one, that's a ditch, really, that they can do some work in, that will help drain a lot of acres.
Well, I mean, both of your projects, one's out for bid now, and the
Yeah.
other one will be out
Yeah.
for bid next month.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah, next week. See what the bids come in at. and let's
So
move forward.
the way the bids are set up, I mean, obviously, we use the standard, the county has the right to review the bids for 60 days. Under the ARPA program, unfortunately, we're under a little bit different timeline there in that they have to get the contract by August 30th.
August the 30th.
So, what we're anticipating would be, I'm speaking on our projects, the two that are advertising on, June 5th,
This is
they would
something-
open bids on July 9th, I believe, which would allow the board to act on those at the 15th meeting.
July 15th.
Which would give us a month and a half to get contracts.
Contract
executed.
documents.
So we feel like we're in line there, but there again, the county has the right to reject the bids, you know, up until, 60 days after the bids are open.
Yep.
So we would certainly know by then. I see ones that aren't ours, there's one currently out for bid and one in design, so maybe those also we would know something by it. I mean, they gotta be pretty close to that time frame.
Right.
How'd we come in so far off?
Well, we're still waiting on about, I would say, 20 million from the state in reimbursement, which would allow us to complete all the projects. The problem is, we're not gonna get that reimbursement before the deadline.
Correct.
So. we
That's
need to-
correct.
But we are gonna get the reimbursement, just not before the deadline.
The evidence strongly suggests that we're eventually gonna get our reimbursement. The problem is, we can't control the reimbursement process. That is totally in the control of NDEQ's contracted service provider that reviews all the applications for reimbursement, Horn.
And the any extension we might get would be a hard deadline on December 31st?
That's correct.
Well, it would be prior to that.
Oh,
Prior
yeah,
to.
the deadline, that would be extended to would be
Mid.
at least 60 days before the end of the year. At least, because the state has to have time to tell the feds whether or not the state's ARPA money is gonna be utilized, and if so, how. So they need time, they won't let us wait until the 31st of December and then turn around and tell them after the deadline, oh, by the way, we're not
Well,
gonna
the
do that.
state is being held up too.
Yes.
I mean, they're,
They have that 12/31 deadline.
yeah,
Feds.
I mean, like, they've offered to hire people to go work for DEQ.
So it's not
to
just
get all
Rankin
this
County
stuff
that's
done.
having problems, it's.
Oh, it's
Oh, MDOT
statewide,
is,
guys.
they got a lot of projects being held up.
And it's unique. It is incredibly unique. What the program is unheard of in our history. And so we're all dealing with the reality that nobody knows exactly what to do. Nobody wants to make a mistake.
So what I would like to know is, if we continue on, we do all of our projects, how much are we gonna need to come out, how much are we gonna be short and have to come out of the bank with?
It depends on the reimbursement amount.
If we get, let's
Well,
say
that's
we
what
get
I'm
our
saying.
reimbursement,
If we
get
get
the
all our reimbursement,
we've got enough
we
money.
should be okay.
okay.
That's what I was
Eventually.
wondering, if we got enough money in the reimbursement, we can do the projects, if we have to fund it first,
Right.
if we're gonna get the money back, is what I was,
So our total matching amount was around 22 million.
21.6.
So we've gotten 1.9, or 1.875. So we're still due 20 million back, which will cover the additional $17 million in projects that we have outstanding.
and still have.
So, but what you're
possibly
saying, if we
left
don't do any of these future projects, we have $3.6 million that we could spend on asphalt. But if we do any of these, then that money goes away.
The matching funds would go away.
Yes,
Right.
that's right. That's
Well,
right.
I just know, like, and Brian can contest, I mean, like, the Butler Creek and Williams Road, I mean, it floods. I mean, he can sit there and say how many times, you know, by the school in that subdivision, you know, it's pretty bad, am I right? You know, it's, you know, gets in houses in behind Butler Creek, and which I'm not saying everybody else has the same issue, you know, that water's getting in houses on big, you know, things. So that's what I'm saying, we can do them, and we're gonna get the money back,
I will.
you know, and still have some money left over. You know, if we can get, if everybody can get their projects done, according to what Keith just said, there's enough money when we get to, there's enough money to do all of it.
Assuming there's no hiccup
Right.
in the reimbursement protocol, we will eventually recover the monies that we are asking to be reimbursed.
Yeah, I can't give you an exact time, but it
That's the
took us probably 6 months to get that 1.8 million back.
Right.
Now, we hope, since that was the biggie, the first biggie,
Yeah,
we
the
hope that
learning
we now
curve.
have a plan and a pathway for the folks that we deal with at Horn to see that we do know how to cross the Ts and dot the Is, and that our applications will be consistent, to have the same paperwork. So it should go much more smoothly from here, but far be it from me to suggest that a bureaucratic process is gonna run smoothly.
Do we know if any of the reimbursement has been on the bridge yet?
So what's your
Give me a
opinion?
bridge project.
Thomasville.
Thomasville or Hickory Ridge would have been the first two.
I don't know.
The reason I say that is those are being handled under the commodity, it should be the same contractor, same, really same project, different location type deal. So if that has made it through the
That
process.
should make it easy.
Right, and we've got 10 or 12 of those.
Yeah, and there's a couple projects that I didn't include on here that are currently ongoing, but they're 95 to 98% complete.
Yeah.
So that 3.6 will drop down a little bit, but, so I would say we're safe to move forward with 3.5. I just need to know which direction the board wants to go on which projects.
Yeah, today's drop dead day, right? Have we advertised everything?
You authorize a notice to bidders for all of the projects under your ARPA
But we
program.
actually have to do it though.
Two
Well-
of them on here go in the paper next Wednesday.
And those would be the final two.
I'm not sure about the Terra Road.
So the Indian Creek,
What?
is that the one you saying is gonna be ready to go?
It and, the Bellamy will be in the paper on next Wednesday.
All right.
The board
purpose-
has done what it needs to do to get the bid process going. You don't have anything else to do. Tim's giving you timeframes of
So
what
we
they've
may
already
need
been
to come up
authorized.
with $20 million though for 6 months,
6 months,
or
possibly
maybe
a year. Yeah.
So it's a, y'all wanna do all these projects?
I'm good with it if we're gonna get reimbursed and still have money left over to do. We should still have some extra money left over after these, correct?
No,
I don't think so.
Some of them gonna run over.
there won't be anything left over. I'm pretty sure we probably gonna have to come out of the bank, I would imagine.
Jay's point is valid. I think you'll probably have some additional funds that you'll have to come up with to finalize every project on your list. It's just the way life is. We're gonna have to pay more for certain things than we anticipated we were. These are budget numbers. These are estimates.
Well, it's just like the two that's the future on mine is the Purvis Creek, Diamond D Lake Road Bridge. I mean, that's an ARPA project, but I mean, we don't have to do that. I mean, we can do it
Well, I
a
mean,
different,
The bridges we've got on the list are bridges that are impacted, they're low-weight bridges right now, yeah.
Like the Steens Creek,
Eventually,
Both of them will.
these bridges not being done will affect your state aid monies. And then
Exactly.
you will be doing bridges with state aid.
but
money.
we were gonna do this bridge regardless if we were gonna, the ARPA money or whatever. I mean,
Yes, sir.
we were gonna have to
Eventually.
redo it eventually.
Here's the
That's how these bridges were selected,
Yeah.
is because
Well,
of
then
their
we need to go ahead and do it,
current status, so.
because we're getting matching funds
Yeah, I
now.
understand.
The question is, do you wanna spend half what you would have to spend on
Yeah.
it to get your bridges in order? That's the issue.
And and if you do it as a state aid project, I can assure you, half is a fourth, really.
Yeah.
You're spending, because the state aid project for that bridge would cost considerably more than 1.1 million.
50% more, probably.
So what kind of interest we gonna pay on 20 million for a year?
Wanda?
6%.
Yeah, I'd say between 5 and 7.
So is there any projects on here y'all don't wanna do?
Well, I've got a couple I can strike.
Well, the Richland Creek near Terra Road, which is, it's listed at 985,000. And last I talked with Greg Bonds, I mean, what he showed me was like 300,000 or 400,000. Cause it was totally, it's no bank stabilization on that. It was just adding culverts and,
Let me remind you too, that the numbers I'm using, the latest numbers I have, the engineering fees are associated with these projects are based on the original budgeted amount of the project. They never reevaluated the engineering fees when the project was either increased or decreased.
so being the projects went down, their engineering fees still stayed up.
Yes, sir.
Well, probably cause they already designed the project.
That's
Not
correct.
necessarily. Well, I understand what you're saying, but.
So,
It's a subject that should bear out some additional conversations, is the point.
yeah, and what you have to remember too is if you stop one of these projects, I need to know if we need to tell the engineers to cease any work associated with that project, so we're not continuing to have engineering fees associated with the project we're not gonna do at this point. And eventually it'll pan out.
Like the bridges, they're not gonna be complete till March, so they're just doing steps, so it'll be next March before.
We had to pay for anything like
Well,
that.
if we do a bridge, we pay for it, but we're actually coming in under our budget amount on the bridges, they vary a little bit, Brad, but, I'm just saying these projects ain't gonna be done tomorrow, we'll be
Well, just like the two bridges on White Road, I mean, that's $1 million each.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I could cut 2 million off, you know, I'd rather cut that than cut, you know, a couple of things up here, but I was just asking, if we do that, then we're gonna lose the matching money, correct?
Yes, sir.
So that was kind of,
And those two specifically will be at some
Right.
point required by state aid to
State
be
aids.
replaced before you do any overlay or anything within the
Correct.
state aid money. We're programming that right now, so.
so it would make no
As long
sense.
as if you remember, a few years back, we presented a program to the state aid that said, hey, the county can replace these bridges cheaper under their commodity bids, and so we don't wanna use state aid money to do it. We wanna use the county funds so we can use the state aid money.
I think we need to come up with some way to fund this.
Yeah,
Overlay.
Right.
I agree, Jeff.
So it would agree
It looks like everybody
to
wants the
go ahead and do
project.
the bridges, yeah.
What's your opinion on the loss, that if we don't do it, how much are we losing?
If we don't
If
do
we
it,
don't do it, how much money, the federal money do we lose?
oh,
20 million?
20?
Half of that.
Yeah, so
Half.
you would have to,
I
we don't know where
what
we are
we've
right
got
now with
spent
all of
right
our
now.
projects.
So
It's kind of a moving
we
target.
had 25 million, I think, and so whatever we've spent to date, the remainder of it.
Yeah.
18?
Yeah. Well, actually, we'd lose the matching too, so, yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we just need to figure out how we
How
gonna
we can do it.
fund it.
Yeah.
Well, according to this, total estimated remaining cost of basically 18 million. You're walking away from 9 million in matching funds.
Yeah.
If you say stop where we are,
Just leaving that on the table.
9 million.
And we
the
still gotta
bridges-
do it.
Yeah, the
sooner or
bridges that
later
are
it's
on the
gotta be
list to
done.
be done, you will do at 100% of that cost,
Yeah.
which Tim just told you is probably 150% of what this budgeted amount is
Yeah.
to do it as an ARPA program.
Yeah.
So you're leaving a lot of money on the
Yeah.
table.
I don't think we wanna do that. I mean,
No.
we have to fix the bridges, at some point. And at this point, we can get a portion reimbursed. Later?
Those both bridges?
Yeah.
We don't.
They're two separate things.
Okay.
I mean, it's just that
Yeah.
simple. So,
It still was a better deal even if you don't get reimbursed.
Even-
It's a better deal.
Yeah.
well,
And it's it's federal funds.
I think, is there anybody that says, I don't want to move forward with this?
No.
We're good to move forward.
I think we need to move forward with it.
Okay.
and
Yep.
So I'll take that
All
as instructions on searching out some
Yes, sir.
additional funding, temporary
year?
funding sources.
Yeah.
I would plan on a year.
And, Mr. President, I'm sorry I didn't speak up earlier, but I do have a need for executive session on personnel.
Yeah, well, I see our acquisition people back there, so I guess we got real estate to talk about too. Yep. All right, there's no action right here, is it?
No.
You've given instructions to county administrator concerning your program. Mr. President, if I may, one item of additional business to ask
Uh-huh.
for consideration on. First Baptist Church Florence has been deeded some parcels that are in the Robin Hood subdivision. I assume these came from parishioners, possibly through estate planning and whatnot, but at any rate, the church has come into possession of 3 different lots that are in Robin Hood. The church has requested for those properties to be deeded over to the county by way of a quitclaim deed, to simply put them back into the possession of the county, get them out of the name of the church, and allow for the properties eventually to be utilized for the benefit of others out there. That request needs to be communicated, a response to that needs to be communicated back to the church, so I need you guys to help us determine what we want to do with that request. You're not required to accept the properties, but if the board is of the opinion that it would be helpful to take possession and get the properties eventually back on the land roll, maybe make them available to adjacent property owners, see if they want to purchase them from the county, that would be something to do.
Otherwise, they're gonna have to deal directly with the church.
I mean, we're just
What do we-
gonna assess the value at,
Yeah,
I mean, cause most of these lots are gonna be a quarter acre, right, Mark?
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so what we could do, Brad, is simply make them available through our normal process. We would declare them to be surplus, and then we would allow for property, for anyone in the public could then bid to purchase those lots. They may bid $1, and the board then has the discretion to accept or reject any of the bids. That's our normal process, and that would be my suggestion. There are other options available to the county. The issue here is utilization of the property. The lots are so small that I don't know that they have any intrinsic market value from a real estate perspective. So some of the options that would typically be available to the county to shed property it doesn't need may not be available for these lots. But I do think adjacent property owners may be interested in them.
Yes.
So we just need to communicate back to the church. What I need for the board to consider is, do we respond and say, we will accept the properties, you put together the instrument, and you get all that handled, and we will accept it? Or do I communicate back, no, we're not interested?
I'd say let's accept it.
I'll make a motion to
And-
accept it, or I'll make a
Alright.
motion to add this to the agenda,
Alright.
to accept the properties from Florence.
All right.
Second.
Brad makes a motion to add the transaction of First Baptist Church of Florence to engage in a type of a deed, quitclaim,
Yes,
whatever.
that's right.
To the county. And
Yeah, I second.
Sid second that motion to add it.
Now my motion would be,
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's added now.
and then my motion would be to move, to approve.
All right, Brad makes a motion to approve.
Yeah, I second.
Sid seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Now,
One other item that we were, and by the way, we do have a property acquisition for executive sessions where we have our right-of-way acquisition agents with us today, so we'll take up that matter in executive at the appropriate time. There's one other matter. We've been approached by an organization that's a nonprofit that represents local governments, law enforcement, public works director, fire and EMS officials. They put together a little coalition to respond to the federal government, Congress's consideration of legislation that will permit what are called, it's a pilot project to increase the truck weights that are authorized to run the interstates. They want to increase, the legislation proposes to increase the maximum poundage from 80,000 to 91,000 pounds. And they're setting the program to run for a period of 10 years. It would.
Do we get involved in that?
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm addressing it. They've
Can't
approached
fix the
us
roads that we got now.
to request whether or not this board has any interest, if any, in speaking on this matter. Does this board have any interest in being involved in that at all?
I don't care too.
I mean, they're struggling now, everybody can't find the money to fix what they got.
I'd
The
rather
bridges.
remain silent.
Just remain silent on the issue.
Yes,
Does
sir.
that seem to be the flavor of the board? We are happy, should the board
We can
want it.
revisit.
We can
Later.
reach out to our delegation and just ask, what, if any, policy statements have you guys come out with, or do you intend to? And then report that back to you guys, but at this juncture, we'll communicate to this organization that this board, at this point, is not interested in addressing this. Okay, thank you.
I got one thing in additional
All
business.
right.
Can I go ahead and bring it up?
Brad's got
Can
something. Go ahead.
either EOC or Sheriff's Department give us an update on what we figured out on the storm shelter deal? Or, I know you spoke to someone with Sheriff's Department that's overseeing.
Yeah, we had apparently some miscommunication with one of the dispatching crews, because we were always under the impression, obviously, the safe room is operated by the sheriff, and it's up to his discretion when to open or close it. Typically, in the past, it has been open during a tornado watch keyword watch. You know, conditions are present, tornado has not formed yet, but it could possibly. So the safe room was open, and so they'd be ready for when the warning come out. People were already in place in the shelter. I believe there was some miscommunication at some point with dispatch crew, because we had several constituents call us claiming that it was only open during a warning. So, which is, unless something has changed, incorrect. So I've spoken with Mark Farron about it. He agrees with us. Nothing's changed. It is open as soon as personnel can open the safe room during a watch, and that's the way we're going to go forward. At this time, there's only 2 people that have the ability to open the safe room, and that's under the sheriff's purview to do that. So.
Okay. I really think we need to have somebody with more access to be able to open that safe room. But we depending on 2 people to have a capability of opening.
Well, I think it's,
On some additional options that, will open that ability for other individuals
Okay.
to have access to open the safe room.
All right.
We're working on that.
Thank you.
all right.
That's all.
I need a motion for executive.
I'll make a motion going.
Make a motion for the need.
executive.
All right, Brad makes a motion to discuss the need for executive. Have a second?
Second.
Scott seconds that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Now,
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for property
Property.
acquisitions,
and personnel.
personnel.
All right, Brad makes a motion.
Second.
Scott seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We are in executive.